where the wrestling truth resides.
Did I tell you the Shane Douglas story, finding about how he actually wrestled in Bertha before?
No.
You never? Oh my God! So, we're gonna get to answering your question. I'm sorry. This is why we never get to answer everything. He's like, it's okay. He's like, I can tell by Cat's face. He's like, it's okay. Just tell me the Shane Douglas story. I want to hear the Shane Douglas story right now.
I don't care.
He gets right into it. He's like, I don't care about you answering my question. Just give me the Shane Douglas story. I must know. So we'll get there. So this is the weekend they decided to bring me back. So I'm bringing the Shane Douglas because I'm like a big surprise. They wanted to do this big thing, and I'm like, okay, cool. And so they asked me to drive Shane Douglas, and I pick him up, and we're chatting. And we're talking about how I used to own the company. Someone was riding with me. I can't believe it. I don't know if it was Drifter or somebody was in the back seat and was asking him a bunch of dumber questions. And I was like, stop it. Let me
probably Drifter.
Yeah. And so we had brought up the ring and how I used to own the company and how old the ring was and how we called it Bertha, and then she was a converted ring. And I found out, like, through tracking it through indie wrestling and WWE old wrestling, that it used to be a ring that was owned by the Philadelphia Spectrum. It used to be in the Spectrum. It was a converting boxing ring. Very old. It has a unique fin on the posts. It's very rounded. And the top of the posts had like that little nub on it. Kind of like a nub you would find on a nut. Like a nut and bolts combo. That little on the top. That's how it would look. So, and I explained it to him. He goes, He said, you said it was in the Philly Spectrum? I'm like, yeah. I tracked it down through different owners, did all the research I could find on it. And I'm like, this ring's really old. He's like, how is it still operating? I'm like, well, I got this guy who's a welder. He used to be a welder in the Navy. He used to weld on battleships. So he doesn't really, for lack of a better term, he doesn't fuck around. And he's like, I bet he doesn't. And he goes, I'm like, no, he don't. So this thing does not move. It's stiff. But it's because it's the only way we can get it to work. And anyway, so I explained it to him. He didn't believe me. Well, we get to the venue, and I explained to him, we're in Fairfield first on the Friday. I walk him in, show him where everything is, and then I take him out to the ring. He walks out through the curtain, where the curtain area is, where it normally is in Fairfield, right by that doorway by the bathrooms. Walks through the curtain. He sees the ring, drops his bags. He just stands there and stares at it. He's like, you got to be shitting me. I'm like, what's up? He's like, you weren't, in his own words, you weren't fucking lying. He walks over to it, and the first thing he does is grab that fin of that post. He's like, holy shit. It's like, he looks at me and goes, you know how old this ring is? I'm like, yep. And so he's pushing on the padding. He's like, damn, this thing doesn't move. I'm like, take a bump in it. He's like, I don't fucking dare to.
He's like, no, I'm
he's
good.
Like, I'm old. He's like, I'm gonna break my back. I ain't getting in this fucking thing.
Was this with the puzzle piece foam too?
Yeah.
Oh God.
So he gets up in it and he's bouncing around in it. And he's like, it's pretty solid. I'm like, yeah, my guy doesn't fuck around when he welded it. It's in good shape. But anyway, he's bouncing around. He's like, I'm not bumping much. And I told that to Zach too. I'm like, he's probably not going to bump much. Why? I'm like, he knows that ring. And I explained to Zach the story. He's like, you're shitting me. I'm like, yeah, dude, he verified it. He's like, he said he's wrestled in that ring in his younger years. In his younger years,
yeah,
he wrestled in that ring.
Floated over that part of the story last week.
He probably doesn't remember it because he's probably awestruck at the fact he was working Shane Douglas.
Probably.
Yeah, I would be too.
The match.
And I had to drive Shane Douglas back. And he was just like, he's like, I can't believe I wrestled in that ring. I was like, I wrestled in that ring when I first started wrestling, and now I'm wrestling it when I'm almost done with wrestling. That's wild. And I'm like, I'm sorry? Like, I didn't know what to say. I'm like, I'm sorry. He laughed at me. He laughed at me, but he's like, I'm like, I'm sorry. And he's just like, no, he's like, just crazy how the world works. Everything comes full circle, I guess. That's what he said. So the fact that he could verify what that ring was from, and the look on his face, like he had a flashback while just looking at that ring, and like I could tell by the way he grabbed the fin because that has such a distinct fin on it. A lot of the fins now are like open, so you can carry the ring post. This one's not open. It's like a full like on fin, like you would see on a fish. So
I think he had PTSD.
He probably did. I think he did bump. I remember him saying he did bump it, and he said that thing. It's firm. It's a solid bump, but it sucks.
Like Nam starts playing like freaking Fortunate Son starts playing. He's like, wow.
I will say this because he brought up the puzzle. I just saw that Lee brought up the puzzle piece mats.
Yeah.
The puzzle piece mats were probably the best padding they ever had because the padding never slid.
True.
It never overlapped. It was always flat, and it was firm. It was judo mat.
It was
so like you could drop a weight, like a 20-pound weight on it, and then the weight would bounce back up. So your body is obviously going to bounce back up because it's made for like MMA and judo.
It still didn't make up for the unspringable spring in the middle.
That's because when the string, that's not my fault. The spring, when the IWE boys, Sonny and Bomb bought it, when the ring broke, they had the spring replaced later. You remember we did the midget ring?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the kids' midget ring. Well, when they brought that one back, I think it was Paul Mann who put a different spring in it. Or he fixed the spring, one of the two. I don't know what happened. Because it used to be an old, like, spring off a Mack truck. So that thing was bouncy.
Those are big fucking springs.
Yeah. So, and then this one was not the same spring. Or either it was that or it was repaired. I don't know. But it was off. It was not the same spring. Like, it wasn't the same springiness. I could tell because when I got in it, I was like, I don't think so.